Welcome to American History Notes, where I discuss things I've learned from studying American history. Um, and it's a survey and just mentioning these things. If you're more interested in names and places, events, and concepts, then you should dig into them and look them up yourself. Um, and we're going to begin today. Publicly funded globe street lights are installed in Philadelphia in 1752, the first street lighting system in British America. In 1794, the Lancaster Road, a toll road joins Lancaster and surrounding area with Philadelphia. The first suspension bridge using iron chains for support is built by engineer James Finney in 1799. The first covered bridge opens over the Schuylkill River in Pennsylvania. New York City planning officials adopt the Commissioner's Plan, making streets north of Union Square to be aligned by a grid system, copying the older Spanish cities. In 1819, Rome and Utica, New York, are joined with the opening of the first part of the Erie Canal. The canal took 2 years to build, using thousands of immigrants as laborers. Um, and there's a famous song, a low bridge song, it's called, from the early 1900s, although they're not sure exactly if that was when it was written. It was very popular, and it kind of goes like this. I'm not going to sing, but got an old mule and her name is Sal, 15 miles on the Erie Canal. So that was commemorating what happened 100 years before. It wasn't written during that time. Anyway, by 1825, the full length of the 363-mile canal opens in New York State and provides a link between the Hudson River and the Great Lakes. This will spark other canal projects. In 1828, the first steam train passenger service to Baltimore and Ohio will begin to be built in Maryland. In 1827, the first public transportation in New York City begins with the inauguration by Abraham Bauer of the 12-seat horse-drawn bus. The Tom Thumb, developed by the American entrepreneur Peter Cooper, becomes the first U.S.-built locomotive in 1829. Robert Livingston Stevens will invent the T-rail, standard equipment for rail lines, in 1830. Besides the Pennsylvania rifle, one of the first military innovations in America was the first use of a submarine in warfare. In 1776, a 7-foot-long Connecticut turtle tried unsuccessfully to sink British warships in New York Harbor. David Bushnell invented the hand-crank vessel of wood, iron, and pitch. Using ballast to lower or raise a submarine and the screw propeller are still in use today. He proved that gunpowder exploded underwater and invented the first time bomb. In 1787, in two separate events, the first steamboats are demonstrated by James Rumsey on the Potomac River and by John Fitch on the Delaware River. In 1800, Robert Fulton, who will gain fame as the inventor of the first successful steamship in 1803, is the first to use metal to build a submarine. In 1807, now of course I'm talking about going on the ocean. 1807, the first regular cargo service was steamship commences between New York and Albany on board the SS Claremont. Using a Boulton and Watt engine and paddle wheels, it had design of steamships for years to come. The first ocean voyage of a steamboat is completed by seaman Moses Rogers, traveling from New York City to Delaware River by the way of Cape May, New Jersey in 1809. The first steamship to travel the Mississippi River Valley on a 14-day trip from Pittsburgh to New Orleans occurs in 1811. It's called the SS New Orleans. In 1819, the first transatlantic trip by a sail steamship combination is completed as the USS Savannah travels from Georgia to Liverpool, England. The first fully fashioned clipper ship, the Ann McKim, is built in Baltimore for local businessman Isaac McKim in 1832. The first cable suspension aqueduct bridge spanning the Allegheny River in Pittsburgh is open to traffic. The 162-foot bridge is constructed by German-American engineer John Augustus Roebling in 1845. The Pennsylvania Railroad, eventually one of the nation's largest, is chartered in 1846. The Illinois Central will become the first U.S. railroad to receive a government land grant in 1850, allowing it eventually to become the leading north-south rail line in the country. In 1852, the Michigan Southern Railway becomes the first train to successfully travel from the East Coast to Chicago. In 1858, American cabinet maker George M. Pullman designs the two-tiered sleeping car for the Chicago and Alton Railroad. Pullman and Benjamin Field will patent the design for a sleeping car, the Pioneer, with convertible berths in 1864. The next year, the Union Pacific Railroad construction begins in the United States. The first official piece of U.S. weaponry, the Springfield flintlock musket, is produced in Springfield, Massachusetts in 1795, the home of the first American arsenal in the previous year. The Springfield rifle will be developed here in 1903. Samuel Colt will develop the Colt six-shooter revolver in 1836. We'll stop there and talk about the discovery of dinosaur bones in New Jersey next. I begin with that next, and I thank you for listening. I hope you'll study American history and draw some conclusions from it. And thank you.